X prevails, do 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 do. X prevails, do 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 do. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Today we're going to talk about what big farm is next. I put this video out and refresh it every 6 months or so, and it's about that time, and a lot of people have been asking me to update it anyways, so let's update it. We'll update the heck out of it, folks. We didn't want the heck in it, so we're going to get it out. First, huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are amazing, and I really couldn't do this without you guys. Truly, you mean the world to me. I thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you. And if you want to support this channel for free, folks, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. Let's mount that algorithm. The algorithm is kind of acting like it owns the place. Let's show it its real place, right? That was convincing, right? I heard. Whoa, let's not look at that one yet. Let's talk about Lightspeed bundles real quick. So first off, I probably will be mentioning Lightspeed bundles at least a little bit and spending money on this game. There's no pressure at all to spend money on this game, folks. I barely spend money on this game these days, and you should feel free to exercise your own discretion when spending money on this game. It's really not going to be a judgment point. However, it may skew the results of like when do you want to farm these characters. This isn't a hard and fast list. This is just my opinion on the most efficient and effective way to go about farming. Now, with that being said, of course, I tend to be a GAC player who doesn't really care about Galactic Legends as much as far as it comes in GAC, because it's fun to counter Galactic Legends with off-meta counters, whereas I'm making a video about that here hopefully pretty soon. That isn't really the point of this video. This video is going to be discussing the farming order for I think my prescribed farming order for these different characters, the bigger farms in the game, and how they can impact you and what they can do in the greater scheme of things, not just GAC. So when I tell you that certain characters are terrible, it's not that they're terrible just in GAC, they're terrible everywhere. No, but in reality, none of the characters or teams on this list are terrible. They're just ranked lower or something like that. And we don't have to have Galactic Legends to be Galactic Legends in GAC, and GAC is not the only consideration. The rise of the peasants is what this slide is apparently called, and it's just about how we can beat Galactic Legends without using our own Galactic Legends. They're not the end-all be-all, though they are very important. They're like the agents in the Matrix, right? Like, they're holding all the keys. They're the gatekeepers. Eventually, you're gonna want some of them, and this is the order you should do it in. Tell me in the comments, folks, if you think the order should be different. Tell me respectfully, please. If it's not respectful, then it will not be respectful. So, first we have Executor, which I think is a pretty good first thing to work on. This used to be the first on our list, and it's only gotten more important. We should promote it further somehow. The slide used to say third strongest fleet, and now it's the second strongest fleet, because the Punishing One is amazing and it's farmable, and it's not likely to become accelerated anytime soon because ships don't get accelerated. It also has the requirements for the fleet that feed really well into a lot of other Galactic Legends, and we'll be talking about the overlap of all these different things. Even if I don't chart it out for you, this one does fit in well with the Eternal Emperor, Jabba, and Lord Vader farms, as well as other ones. It's also a really important fleet if you want to score high for your guild. It's nice in Rise of the Empire, guys. It just is. It's really good in Conquest. I'm just kidding. There's not a fleet mode in Conquest. Not yet. Gosh, I really hope they never do that. And honestly, this is one that a lot of new players are going to have the right pieces for. The requirements are pretty important anyways. This is a good fleet to have, especially because there were significant flaws in the other two Galactic Legend level fleets. So this is a good place to start, in my opinion. If you don't have this fleet, you should probably be working on this before a Galactic Legend, maybe even before your first legendary. Well, your first, like, luxury legendary, such as Starkiller. Starkiller is really strong in PvP. He's not that much use in other game modes, though he can do okay if he's kind of all you have. The really nice thing about Starkiller is that his requirements are all wonderful and fit into other teams that are going to be long-term additions to your teams for a long time. That's what long term means. If you need me to spell that out for you, I'm not going to. I'm just going to say it out for you. So anyways, the thing to remember about Starkiller is you can't just farm him and be like, hey, I unlocked Starkiller, I got him to Relic 8, I put Omicrons on him, he's ready to use, right? Like, no, you actually do need other characters, but you need you need the checklist, right? You need the Jedi, Sith, light side Ufu, dark side Ufu, and you'll have some of those, but you won't have all of them. You won't want, like, Kyle Katarn is one of them that you farm him with. He's not going to end up on the Starkiller team. I guess you can do with him if you like, but that's not all you need. You know, you need supplemental characters, right? So just keep that in mind when you unlock him. There's still some legwork to do. It's deceptive how much work you have to do after you're done farming him. Like, by the time you farm him, you should have Emperor Palpatine unlocked, for instance, and that's a good start. I'll just say that. So Jabba is the first Galactic Legend that I typically recommend people to farm, because yes, he is now, I suppose, the third most recent Galactic Legend to be released, but he's still, in my opinion, the most important Galactic Legend. The amount of rewards that you miss just passively by not farming him early on is honestly pretty staggering. The Smuggler's Run 2 event is really strong. It gives you tons and tons and tons of materials that honestly your account wants immediately. You want it as early as you possibly can get, and then you want to keep receiving it. Now that we can sim that event, it's even nicer. He's also, if you're in a guild that needs help in Rise of the Empire, he's an amazing add, because first off, you want relics on the team anyways. So if you put relic, I don't know, 7 or 8 on all of them, you're going to be able to just auto your way to victory in Rise of the Empire territory battles, and your guild will love you for it. If your guild doesn't need Jabba's help, I don't know, most guilds do, actually, even the bigger ones. It's nice if everyone can just auto some Jabba and then deploy. It's really nice. He also has a lot of good overlap in requirements for the early Galactic Legends that I suggest, which is obviously fairly nice. Like Boosh, for instance, is required for the Leia farm as well, and she is kind of early on this list as well. Sorry for the spoiler about that. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis has moved up on this list a little bit. I think he was already like 5 or 6 or something last time, but one way or another, guys, we all complain about Kyrotech crunch, right? I mean, not all of us. Some people have gotten past that specific bottleneck, but it is actually a bottleneck for most players. And whereas it may not seem like really intuitive to a lot of people, you really do solve your bottleneck for Kyrotech if you're disciplined just by farming GET 2 and 3. You can, for the most part at least, really minimize that crunch. That can just be the death of your Kyrotech crunch, at least to some degree, if your guild can all get on the same page. And being on the same page about this includes getting Jedi Cal so that you can consistently and easily, without having to switch mods, without having to apply Omicrons, you can run that event and beat it every time. Relic 7 on him, and you'll want Relic 7 anyways because he is a huge part of a ton of different Jedi teams. He's really good. Before you get any Galactic Legends, if you have Jedi Revan, he goes wonderfully with him. They're like perfectly well together. They're like peas and carrots, folks. I hate to tell you that because peas are disgusting, but if you want to use that metaphor, if you want to be like Forrest Gump, he is just really nice with Jedi Revan. He goes really nice with Jedi Luke, who you'll probably have if you're farming the characters that I'm recommending, and he just goes really nice. He goes with Jedi Master Luke. Once you finally unlock Jedi Master Luke, he goes really well there. He goes well with all the different things. I highly recommend him as a character, and his unlock characters, besides the furball pet guy, Kersantin? No, that's not him. Tarful, Mouthful, whatever his name is, he's kind of worthless. Eventually, maybe the Wookiee team will be good. That maybe they'll release Gungi or something. But until then, all the other requirements are fairly strong. And Tarful, you only have to get to Gear 12 anyways, which granted, that's the majority of the Kyrotech that you don't want to have to spend that much Kyrotech on a worthless character. I get it. But he is a very strong character, and having him early game is really nice. You'll also probably have an easier time joining guilds that want to earn more GET2. You'll be able to find similarly minded guilds who want to reduce that Kyrotech crunch, and they'll be like, oh dude, you're ready to help us unlock Zepho? Sure, we'll let you join our guild despite you being like 3 million GP lower than our normal requirements. So, yeah, he is a very strong character, folks. Bo-Katan, I think she moved up by 1 spot. Guys, she's kind of just stood the test of time at this point. I mean, yeah, I guess she's only been around for a year, but we've had several iterations of her without using the new awesome datacrons that inevitably follow with characters like her, and she's still really good, folks. She's killing Jedi Master Kenobi fairly consistently, assuming datacrons will allow it. Like that means if she doesn't have a specifically good datacron and Kenobi doesn't have a specifically good one, then she'll take him out. Or if she just has a good one and he doesn't, etc. She's also part of the Kyrotech puzzle crunch. I don't know why I said puzzle crunch. It sounds like a type of cereal, but honestly, she does help you with GET2 as well, and she can help you get into a better guild as well, probably. She's really good in all the different game modes, folks. She really is, and she's a lot of fun to play. She's probably my favorite current non-Galactic Legend character. I mean, I probably prefer it to other Galactic Legends, honestly, because Galactic Legends tend to be a little boring. Profundity is a little bit tricky right now, folks, to chart, because when the Punishing One came out, all hell broke loose, and I don't have time to detail all the fleet nonsense that has happened since then. But the Punishing One came out, and essentially Profundity moved down a rung in the ladder. Despite being a newer, fancier ship, it is worse than the Executor now, unfortunately, because the Punishing One just deletes the hell out of this fleet. However, this fleet is still pretty useful and good to be able to help counter lots of different things. Apparently, it still even beats Leviathan sometimes. And apparently, sometimes it can beat Executor. Otherwise, you can put it on defense. People don't want to deal with it. It's also a really strong ship for PvE, right? So, I mean, you need it. You need it for Rise of the Empire, for instance. You need it for Conquest. I'm sorry. I will stop. I am out of control. No, so it is vital in every game mode, folks. Fleets are just like it or not, they're important, and you kind of need this. Adrad is a pretty solid team. It's solider than most people want to give it credit for, and especially early game. You're going to really benefit early game if you have two of the big fleets. And Leviathan, whereas it's better, and I would normally recommend farming it, it's really tough to get because of its requirement of conquest characters. This doesn't have that. It also does have some decent overlap with the early Galactic Legends that I'm suggesting. So, huge props or something to this fleet. I don't know. I don't feel like we should be recommending it as much, but it is still important, and I think that it shouldn't be just spurned entirely. I do think it holds some value. It's just in a very awkward place currently. So Leia is the next Galactic Legend that I recommend, and that's because she beats all the Galactic Legends. She's also very strong on defense. She has amazing overlap with other Galactic Legends, and including Jabba and Jedi Master Luke, which are probably, I mean, those are that's like the triumvirate of overlapping requirement characters. She also has Endor Escalation 3, which gives you a paltry number of Omicrons every month. It's better than nothing. That's not the reason to farm her by any stretch, but she also is, I mean, she's a Galactic Legend who is very strong in all the different PvE things, so she's going to beat all the PvE things for you. She is very strong. She beats all the stuff, and if you don't need her in GAC, you can put her on defense. She's also kind of the one solution a lot of guilds have to the new Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano, which Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano is probably not that accessible to newer players. Leia is. All of her requirements are now, I mean, I wouldn't say they're easy. She's fairly expensive, but they're all accelerated now. All the marquees are. And also, one of the biggest detriments to farming her is honestly doing the unlock, because you could waste so many tickets. They got rid of that now. You don't waste tickets farming Galactic Legends now. If you fail, you just get to retry, which is a huge boost to farming a character like this who had a really tough couple tiers to be able to unlock her. So that leads directly into farming Grumpface Luke, folks. Jedi Master Luke, you're gonna want a Galactic Legend Jedi. Frankly, Jedi are, I mean, they're kind of the lifeblood of Star Wars, right? You're gonna want a Galactic Legend Jedi. You just want one because they'll never be like, oh, by the way, we're going to diminish how important Jedi are to this game. Like, they just can't. They're central to the narrative. They'll keep releasing new Jedi characters. They'll keep doing, and central to that is Grumpface Luke, because he's the generic Galactic Legend Jedi. Jedi Master Kenobi, also a Jedi, obviously, but he's Galactic Republic, and so he's got his own group of Jedi, and so a Jedi that's released at random is not going to have nearly the synergy. Like Ezra Exile, he's a good Jedi. He probably works okay with Jedi Master Kenobi. I don't really know, but he's going to go a lot nicer with the Grumpface himself. As I keep mentioning, he also has an amazing amount of overlap with Jabba and Leia farms, so you're gonna want that. You're gonna want that. He's also transcendent in a lot of PvE modes, which is nice. So Supreme Leader Kylo, I moved way up the list here, folks, and I'm not totally sure this is a wise move by myself because he shares almost no overlap with other Galactic Legends. However, if you have access to unlocking Pointy Teeth Rey, he does look like he's going to be very good, and he does counter most Galactic Legends even still, even to this day. Just add a few Night Sisters, and it's just so funny that he still counters all the things. Is he bereft of issues? No, of course, he's got a lot of issues. He's extremely inefficient. Sometimes he just gets completely punked. He still looks like a platypus if he's wearing his mask, but his lifter unit does look very promising, and early game, if you need a team that's going to be able to take out almost anything out there. He's your platypus. So he's also got a Lightspeed bundle. Most Galactic Legends do. That's a leftover from the last time I made that slide. Oh look, I used different font on this slide and this slide only. Leviathan is the best current fleet. And honestly, guys, if you can farm it, I would recommend it. The problem being, of course, you need Malgus, and you need Malgus's ship to be able to unlock the fleet. The other requirements are also fairly tricky and not that useful in the game, necessarily. I mean, some of them to varying degrees, I guess I should say. But it's very challenging to get those conquest characters, especially Malgus. Malgus is the toughest one to unlock, and being able to get Leviathan is not that possible for most early game accounts. If you are able to, I would recommend it. It's the one ship that beats all the other ships. It's like the Ring of Power or something. So the Grand Inquisitor, guys, if you don't have the ability to get Reva, I would push him way back. He is pretty good. He's okay on his own, especially on offense. He's got a decent Omicron, sorry. Even a couple decent ones. His leadership is good. If you don't have Reva. Reva just tends to make it a lot better, and if you're not in a guild or a situation where you can get Reva pretty soon, he's probably not worth the relics or the hassle of unlocking, but he is pretty good. He also has sharp pointy teeth, so he could start his own faction with Pointy Teeth Ray, is what I hear. So Backpack Emperor, he's probably, there's a lot of like asterisks here, guys. It's like Grand Inquisitor should probably be pushed back if you don't have Reva. Similarly, Backpack Emperor should probably be pushed back a little bit if you can't get Bane. He's another conquest character that if you can't get access to Bane, he's a little bit tougher to justify, frankly. But if you can, he moved way up this list because him plus Bane, they both counter a lot of the current issues that we find on defense. They're, as it turns out, Bane kind of is a lifter unit for, say, the Eternal Emperor. If you don't use Bane with him, he can be pretty efficient, but not killing Galactic Legends. He consistently punches way down. And you can't really put him on defense after a certain point because people will just counter him with all kinds of nonsense, and you'll end up feeling bad about it. Balin is the first of the newest characters that I recommend. You can farm all the characters right now to be able to farm him. He's decent. He seems about as good as, what's her name? Bo-Katan. It seems likely that he's going to be good in the new raid. If they ever release the new raid, if they ever give us more information, of course, we don't know if he's going to actually be used in a new raid, but it does seem likely from the hints the CG has dropped that he's going to be useful there. If not, he's still useful as the first of the mercenary teams that has been released, and who knows how important mercenaries will end up being in the greater scheme of things, but you know that they're going to be using that faction for a lot of nonsense moving forward in the game, including galactic challenges, feats for different things, galactic challenges, conquest, galactic challenge. I hate galactic challenges. He seems good, guys. He counters some galactic legends. Other galactic legends, he doesn't. We'll know more once we are free of his bespoke datacron, so I guess hold on to your butts on that front, but he does seem pretty strong. And I think the nice thing about it is once you farm him, first off, you farm some really nice requirements. You farm his team, and you farm the Night Sisters Great Mother's team, which is also a really nice team. So his requirements are really nice. And then you probably already have the characters that you want to add to the team for 5v5. Like his other two could be like L3 and Hondo, and just call it good. So he's nice. He's easy. Relatively easy, at least. Of course, they're not accelerated farms or anything. Jedi Master Kenobi, man, he's fallen so hard, guys. First off, if you don't have Cat, and if you don't have Watt, then you can't get him. I mean, you can get him, I guess, if you don't have Cat, but Cat is the thing that makes him relevant, and in a lot of ways, Cat makes so many other teams relevant that once she's finally chained to Kenobi, you kind of miss being able to use her elsewhere. And he doesn't counter as much anymore. He used to counter all the things, used to be the best team, hands down, and now he just kind of loses to a lot of stuff. Bo-Katan beats him, the Inquisition beats him, and all the new Galactic Legends stuff. It seems like they're kind of tailor-built to beat him, honestly. It's unfortunate. He does still reduce turn meter gain, which is really nice. That's pretty rare in this game, even still. But he's just not that necessary, folks. I'm sorry to say. He requires things that are tough to get, and he's not required for stuff. Sorry. Just skip him until now. Rey is still pretty good. She just has like no overlap in requirements. So you're just farming and using your resources on a bunch of characters that are not that good. You're like, oh, at least they're pilots to like, and then you find out they're pilots to one of the worst fleets in the game. It's not a terrible fleet. Like all the fleets have some level of usefulness, but Redis has the least amount of incidental usefulness. So unfortunately, and if she wants to be pretty good, you really need Ben, who is a conquest character. That's just like the consistent awesome thing about all of these characters. They need conquest characters. She is really strong though. She's a good character. This is one of those characters, her and Supreme Leader Kylo, I would highly recommend just getting their Lightspeed bundles if they are ever available again, because you don't want to have to farm these characters. You don't want to have to put gear on these stupid characters. You just want to be able to get them and move right along. Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano is behind even Rey here because she's so tough to get currently. Right now, we still can't farm 2 of the different characters that are required for her. And so, I mean, yes, she's good. She also has no other thing that's currently required for her or benefits you for having her. It's like, hey, I need a Galactic Legend to beat this. Okay, cool. Use Jedi Master Luke. Use Leia. Use another Galactic Legend. You don't need her for anything specifically. Except, I mean, if you want a high-end account that has that fights in Kyber 1 all the time, sure, like farm her because you already have everything else, but there's just not much reason to be working on her currently. She may end up having a lot of value for the new raid if they ever release information about that raid, but we don't know about that yet either. There's just not an additional incentive to be working on her. Somehow, Lord Vader found a way to be even more worthless than the character that I said has the least value out of all the Galactic Legends. Really, there's just not much reason to be getting him currently. I'm sorry, guys. We're not going to spend much time on him. It's a bummer to me, too. I wish he was good. It's ironic that he was worthless even before he was dipped in lava. Very sad. Dr. Aphra, oh, look at that. I used the new font on this one, too. She's cool. She's not required for anything. She is the definition of a luxury character. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. Yes, she beats Galactic Legends. People will protest it strenuously in comments saying, you don't need her Omicrons. She will beat Jabba every time, and that's fine. I hope you enjoy that. That's pretty cool. I'm happy for you. Finally, we have, in last place, Jar Jar. And I don't do this just because he's a dumb character. I also do it because his team is just also not required. It's a decent team. And actually, one thing I did here that isn't written down is that they're amazing in proving grounds, that they'll beat all the proving grounds and let you get 3 stars so that you can just sim it for the rest of your life instead of having to do those missions for the rest of your life. So if you want to do that just for proving grounds, that's a decent option, I guess. It's expensive, but it's fine. Do they beat Galactic Legends and stuff? Not really. Do they beat other teams? Sure, just like other teams beat other teams. That's just how this game works. They're not terrible, guys. They're just not amazing, and they're not required for anything except for the current raid, which is probably going away in a couple months, so it's probably not worth working on them at this point anymore. So, anyways, that's it. That's my list. Please let me know what your thoughts are, folks. I would be interested to know what your changes would be. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zereth prevails.